Hello Collective, welcome to the channel. It's June 9th, 2025. We have Agent Smith witchery going on. Somebody was seen in somebody else doing magic, binding magic on the person as the person. Trying to bind their life. So that's what we got going on now. The Agent Smiths are out. They're not able to sleep. They're in a nightmare. They might be trying to cause you a nightmare. We got strength. So you're too strong. You're very strong here. In the challenge position, you've got somebody that feels like they've been abandoned. You're walking away from them. You're leaving them behind. In the subconscious, King of Wands, the foundation. You have a strong foundation here. It's a very frugal foundation, stable and strong, and you're leaving behind the old, and they're not happy about it. They're very disappointed. They want you to keep providing for them. Oh, their house was so lovely. You should have seen. It was a party. They're in fear of your light, star. Intentions and expectations. Failure. Failure. They're disappointed. Disappointed. You're leaving them behind. You're strong and you're bringing everything. It's a frugal foundation. No more extravagance, especially if folks haven't earned it. They're out there stealing it, which is what this person is trying to do. They're trying to bind the star's light and solar plexus energy. They tried to do so by Agent Smithing the star while they were sleeping and then having them sew their own binding. In the near future, new beginning. They want your new beginning. It's here anyway. You're innocent. The lens is being looked through. King of Wands. Overcoming challenges in the environment. Justice, the law of cause and effect. They wish to bind a beautiful star being. Yellow was the color and white thread so that it could not be seen. Their intentions will be their gift, is what the divine has stated. Hopes and fears. Memories. They're afraid of what they have done. What they have done has been seen every measure. What's the outgoing energy, please, Spirit? Hard work. Knight of Pentacles. Responsibility. Maybe they have to be responsible for the work that they've been doing. Judgment is being called on the freaking devil. Sneaky little slithery shadow one. And there are expansions and opportunities for the strength of two together who are in the sun or carrying the light of the sun. So whatever this individual was trying to do, it failed. They're probably pissing themselves right now because you've got your freedom. You are balanced here, multiple priorities. It's a union, it's a love, it's togetherness, and it's a settling of the energy with love, with divine masculine, and the passion of him too, as King of Wands. Calling justice here, the law of cause and effect. What you do, you shall receive. And whoever this team is here is in a nightmare. They're in despair. Whatever this group was that was behaving in such a way, Agent Smithing this beautiful being, yeah, they're not going to be sleeping. They have just given it up. You know, I mean, they showed their faces and everything. They didn't even bother trying to hide that. You know why? Because the person wasn't supposed to see, or somebody wasn't supposed to be watching. The stars and the suns aren't alone. The Most High is walking with them, and these people don't understand that, or won't want to believe it. They think that if they can Agent Smith a sleeping star and then use their own energy to try to bind them, that they won't be caught. But it was watched. It was seen. Whoever was watching them were watching them. Again, we've got the Eight of Cups, disappointment. Eight of Cups, disappointment. They're getting left behind. So because you're strong and you're courageous, your light is so freaking bright, and they're afraid of it. They tried to bind it using your own energy. And, oh, your strength. You're strong against those who lack accountability. Justice reverse. You're being strong against those who lack accountability. There's punishment coming, and that punishment is an Eight of Cups leaving behind. They're getting let go. They're not going to get any portion at all, especially after this fiasco. The freaking devil getting left behind. Dirty deeds and the done dirt cheap. So there's a scarcity. The punishment is that they will have scarcity. They're getting left behind. They're not going to take part in this new beginning that you've got going on, Star. They're afraid of you because they're losing everything. They're having scarcity here. Ten of Swords in the reverse. It's time for them to learn some lessons. They're resisting an inevitable end. They don't think it can get any worse from here. Or maybe it can't. Maybe they're starting at the very, very bottom. Because what they've been experiencing and what they're trying to stop and bind right now is absolutely against the rules. They're in fear and anxiety over the star. They're in fear and anxiety about your bright, shining essence. They're trying to use your own energy as a sleeper to bind it as you. It's like a weird thing that they're very sophisticated. But they're not actual humans either. They're a different breed of species masquerading. So they're in regret because you're leaving them behind. They're disappointed. They're feeling your loss. You're in that boat and you're leaving it behind. Their relationship is ending. You're not having anything to do with them. This is the Fool. It's a new beginning. Innocent new beginning. You are innocent, and everything that they were trying to do was being watched. It was so incredible. It was a party, man. Tricky. Tricky. So you have a new beginning here. And we've got those people trying to commit fraud, getting tricky with it. Trying to Agent Smith, a sleeping star, and use their own body and energy to bind themselves. This is weird. The trickery is seen. King of Wands is here, overcoming challenges. He's got this abundant Ace of Pentacles here, so he's got the money. Justice, the law of cause and effect. Your intentions shall be your gift. These Agent Smiths are going to wind up taking themselves out. The Hermit here, the law of cause and effect, and we've got the Hermit shining a light on it. Doing the research, seeing the truth of the history. Of what they've been doing to the money. Society and what they've been doing to it. Just because you have the knowledge and the know-how doesn't mean you should, man. That's just a really crappy move. You've done some hard work. You're a responsible person. The work you do to be this shining person is a routine. Emperor. The Emperor is here working hard. And he knows the truth. He was watching every freaking move. Every freaking move. And he's letting go. There's a sacrifice here of those who did that work. And death. Death to the magician. And a binding, because they know the truth and they're victorious over this devil magician. There's a sacrifice and judgment right here, man. Yeah, judgment over this devil. Big ass trouble is what you got. Excuse my language. I don't know why. I'm feeling a little feisty right now. They're probably pissing themselves. So you're very strong, you're very focused, and you're very strong against those who are dishonest. Very strong against those who lack accountability. They're in fear over your life. You have empathy. You see both sides of this situation very clearly. You're very sensitive. And they're disappointed. Whoever this is that's being dishonest, they're disappointed. It's the devil energy. So there's disappointment in the devil and codependent toxicity. They're upset that you're a shining one and that the wealth actually belongs to you. So they're trying to use your essence and your light to bind your essence and your light. It's weird. This Agent Smith was seen. They're no longer unseen, you know. They used to be tricky, now they're not so tricky. No, it's not so tricky. The truth is out. The honest truth. You know the truth? So they're receiving scarcity. This is an inevitable end. They're resisting an inevitable end. They're trying to use the star's essence against them, as them. This is a mask wearer, but it's not really a mask wearer. They're trying to drive the chariot of this star into binding their own self. It could be that you have recovered from this. You're an empath. You see what they're doing here. They're experiencing scarcity right now. You're an abundant, limitless being. You've learned your lessons. There's nowhere to go except up. Whoever has been this devil that's been doing this kind of stuff, this codependent, toxic attachment bullshit, are in fear over your light, over your star, over your energy. They want you to bind yourself. And they're coming in as you're sleeping to try to do so as you. Envy. They fear you and they envy you at the same time. So they're in regret and disappointment. They've lost you, and it could be that they're feeling your loss. You're in the Six of Swords energy. You're moving on. You're leaving behind this crap. The relationship with this devil is ending. It's over. They've lost you. But they're still trying to get away with trickery and fraud here in the near future. Look, they have some doubt here. And it could be that you're releasing the need to know all the answers. And you've got yourself your new beginning here. You're going on a new adventure. You're about ready to walk off that cliff. You're like, la-di-da-di-da. And you got somebody here trying to commit fraud against you, trying to make it as though you are hindering your own footsteps or whatever in the mind, in the mental body. As you sleep in dreamland, they're stepping in and pretending to be you, binding you. King of Wands, overcoming these challenges. He's got the Ace of Pentacles here. So, and he's very, very disciplined. Justice, the law of cause and effect is here. The Hermit's here shining a light on the truth of it. You are in your purpose. You possess gifts of the soul that benefit you and others. So the Hermit's shining a light on it. This is who you are. There's history here. This Ten of Pentacles is yours. And you've got this Agent Smith trying to be in the spirit as you, doing you. They have to accept what they cannot change. You are accepting this Ten of Pentacles. It belongs to you. These ones are in regret about the relationships that you have. They're in fear over it. You've been working hard. The Emperor is here and knows the truth of it. You're very responsible. And you got somebody coming in trying to do this trickery, this fraud with the Seven of Swords. How's this? Death. Death. You know? And I'm like, serious, man. I'm like, burn their house down. Have them pissing all over themselves. I really don't care. Personally. It's a really shitty thing to do. What they've been doing. They're afraid of your friends. They're in regret for bringing this adversity to you. It could be that they're already suffering repercussions. Your relationships that serve the higher good are making a change. You are never alone, and judgment is being called on this circumstance. You're a peaceful person. And these ones are in denial that you are a happy and balanced person. Taking care of business. They don't know what to do because their attempt has failed. Why? Because you know that there's no greater goal than to love. You honor the physical vessel that enshrines your soul, and you're getting your freedom here. They're trying to bind you using your own body in the dream state as you sleep. Not everybody runs around, committing crimes in dreamland. Some people actually rest the body and rest their soul. I guess some people don't have a soul though, so they don't rest. Perhaps that's a new epiphany. Wow. Are those without a soul unable to rest? Is that what that means? So they're never resting. The shining ones are out here in the waking moments of 3D, bling, 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 bling. And when they're sleeping, they're in the other realms, bling, 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 bling. And then you've got an Agent Smith coming up against somebody who is minding their own business, but I don't know if you were aware or if you just thought you were dreaming. So you're very courageous and strong regarding these liars, these dishonest people. There's empathy here. You can see both sides of the situation. And they're missing their opportunity with you. This trickery. They're disappointed. They're challenged because they're disappointed. The devil. You're leaving behind codependent devils, and you know the truth of it. This is the honest truth. You have empathy. You know everything about it. They can't pull the wool over your eyes. You know their side of the story as much as you know your side of the story because you've been living it for a long time. We got space. They might need more time to think. They're in scarcity right now. They're trying to resist an inevitable end. They're targeting a limitless being. You are a limitless being. They want what you have. You can manifest whatever you want to in this reality, and they're trying to bind you in the spirit realm, Agent Smithing you, and then being you. You know what I'm saying? Can you see that? Can you follow that? Soul tie. You're in a soul tie. They always feel connected to your abundance. They are connected to you. They not anymore. That is over. You have an abundant new soul tie here. You've learned your lessons. These ones are in scarcity. It's just like they've missed their opportunity for you because you're so strong. So they're in fear. They're having nightmares about your light shining brightly. They're in envy. They want to bind your light, but they can't. So they're trying to Agent Smith you and have you do it in the spiritual realms. They're envious of your reunion here. They're in regret. They're experiencing a loss because you're in the Six of Swords energy. The relationship is ending and you're moving on. You're leaving that baggage behind, which is leaving them in a state of doubt. And you've released the need to know all the answers. You're being led by the divine and you're going with it. Divine sees everything. The Agent Smith thought they were God, but the Agent Smith is being watched by the Master Agent Smith as they try to Agent Smith somebody. It's so interesting. Holding back. Holding back. So you've got the Fool here, a new beginning. And then you're also got these dishonest thieves trying to play in the mental body of the stars. They want to get away with something tricky. Mend the connection. Come on, man. It could be that they have mended the connection. It could be that that is what allowed them to slip in and attempt this. They might have gotten some of their witchery or their magic to work. We'll get more clarification. They want to fix the connection. Maybe they're trying to sew themselves into your energy, but doing so as you. They're doing it with a white thread on a yellow background, like it can't be seen, so it's hidden, they think. You got the King of Wands here, overcoming challenges regarding the Ace of Pentacles, and he's very, very disciplined. We've got forgiveness here. The law of cause and effect. Balance is being restored. The Hermit is shining a light and doing its research. It's sitting here in its purpose and possess gifts of the soul that benefit themselves and other. Agent Smith isn't the only one with this ability anymore. There's a Agent Smith. It's like the ancient master who taught the original head of this particular person's family how to do agent smithing or something is here watching them. Unsatisfied. You're unsatisfied with the way things are going. The law of cause and effect is here. Justice is being served. Justice is being served. Vengeance is, the need for vengeance is in the history, or there could be some kind of historical thing going on here. Or maybe there's just the memory. What was yours, what is yours is here. The Ten of Pentacles inheritance, they have to accept the things they cannot change. Or maybe you have accepted it or soon will. Reciprocity. Equal give and take. What you have put out is what you're going to get back. Somebody's trying to bind themselves to your energy and your resources. We've got hard work and routine the Emperor is doing. He knows the truth with the Ace of Swords here, and he's bringing a death to this circumstance. Everything has been seen. Judgment has been called. Death and absence. Whoever is doing these kinds of things will be made absent. They can't keep doing this kind of stuff. These people have neglected others, and they're daydreaming about what you have, and they're found unworthy. They're found unworthy. This is yours. A responsible family union, a very serious commitment. And these third-party reflections are confused. And Agent Smith tried to sew themselves into you. They want to be seen as you. And they used your own hand in the spirit to do it as you were sleeping. But you love yourself and you healed yourself, and now they're in regret because it's too late for this prideful person to take any action. I really hope their house burns down, and I hope they piss all over themselves. What can I say? The need for vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Yes. Well, I'm not feeling very happy about this whole scenario. It's just not a very nice thing to do. Trying to secretly bind themselves into a star to be seen as such. Believing that they weren't watched the entire time, and it's known what was happening. Well, you got death here and absence. This is not going good. The Emperor knows the truth about this. So we've got strength. regarding dishonesty. You are open to seeing both sides of a situation, and these people have missed their opportunity. They're not okay. They're not stable. They're trying to sow themselves into your light, into your life. They're disappointed because they're getting left behind. They're codependent and toxic, but you know the truth about this and they can't get into your space, or they're going to be in solitary confinement. Take it as it resonates. I do. They're being stopped. They can't get into your space. So Agent Smith was watched, and it could be that, watched and identified. Everybody that was there didn't bother covering up their face. They have been seen. So they're coming into a life of scarcity. You've learned your lessons. It's time for them to go learn some lessons. You're an abundant, limitless being. They tried to come after you. Always feel connected to you, and we've got danger. Yeah, they're in danger. They're trying to screw around with your soul tie. Emperor. With this star, or they're trying to screw around with your star. A reunion. They're trying to screw with your soul tie. They want to bind themselves to this star, and then they want to be seen as them. And they use the star in the dream space as an Agent Smith to do it. A network of friends, a reunion with a network of friends. So they're envious of this star's reunion and friends, and they tried to bind themselves into the yellow fabric with a white thread, and they did so as an Agent Smith in the person as they slept and dreamed. So they're in regret. There's failure here. You're releasing that baggage. You're moving on. They're in doubt. They're holding back, or they're being held back. A third wheel freaking enemy. Trying to sow their shitty ass self into the essence of this star to hijack their future union. You've got a new beginning here with the Fool, and you've got trickery, somebody trying to get away with something. They want to fix the connection in the mind. They want telepathic connection. They got into this person's mind as an Agent Smith, and they did these dirty deeds trying to fix the connection. They're frightened. They're afraid. They're afraid, and they're trying to rob you of eternal love. And they're experiencing loss, and they're overloaded, man. We got live and learn here, man. They're going to live and learn. They're being separated out, and they're in a natural disaster. They brought it upon themselves. They don't understand that he who walks with the stars and the suns is seeing what they're doing, and is the master of this technology, this practice of Agent Smithing people while they sleep. Natural leader, overcoming challenges, Ace of Pentacles, manifesting abundance, discipline, and there's forgiveness here. Forgiveness, collaboration, justice is here because the Hermit is doing the research, shining a light on stuff. You are in your purpose, and you possess gifts of the soul that benefit you and others. You're not satisfied, and you weren't satisfied with what this third wheel enemy was doing here. They're stopped. They can't get into your space. They got some kind of expert out there, but they're not reaching their goals. So they're not happy with the way things are going with your gifts. You're stopping them. They're not reaching their goals. They're getting the law of cause and effect. Nostalgia is here. The 10 of Pentacles. Wealth, security, and inheritance, and acceptance. You must accept the things that you cannot change. It belongs to you, collective, for what you have, the work you have done. And these ones are experiencing a loss. You're no longer pouring into them, or they're getting reciprocity for what they've done. Knight of Pentacles here, working hard on a routine. Emperor here as an authoritative, trustworthy leader. With the Ace of Swords, he knows the truth. He has clarity and is bringing a death here. Somebody's being made absent. Somebody's going to leave. Somebody's going to transition. He knows the truth about whoever this is that has tried to bind themselves into the energy of this star. And they're stressed out. I really don't care. They're fighting for your good luck, for your fortune, for the reward that you have earned by doing the work, by actually doing the work. These ones just want to step into your mind as you're dreaming and then F you up and take credit for it. That's what they do. And they're frightened now. Why? Because you are the yellow and the bright halo, and they used a white thread to try to bind themselves and sew themselves into your self-love using your own sleeper hand as you rested your body and your mind in the night. It was seen. You've got aid. You're getting help because these people tried to curse your gain, your abundance, and now they're getting cast away and they're being confined. Why? Because this marriage is holy. It's high value. And these ones are trying to sow their low vibrational third wheel, nothing to offer anybody bullshit into that energy. The good news is that they're getting rejected. Death. It's over. The lovers are too strong. The Emperor and his star, their bond is too strong. This devil, codependent, third wheel POS is being stopped. There's chaos. This person is competition, 5 of Wands, and they think they got it, but they're gonna get a 10 of Swords defeat. Utter defeat. The Empress is here, and these ones are in regret, and they're getting abandoned. They're getting abandoned by her light. And they're trying to sew themselves into it because they're greedy and they're in a 5 of Pentacles energy. Boy, what a bunch of jackwagons, man. They're trying to strap her to 10 wands. This beautiful, loving mother here, figure. They're in fear because she knows the truth with the Ace of Swords. I mean, with the Queen of Swords. And the Ace of Swords is right here too, with the Two of Cups. They know exactly what's going on, and they're able to juggle make priorities about it, balance it out. These ones are going to transition out. They're going to transition out. There's death here, and they're stressed out about it. They should not have done it. They knew what they were doing. There was a group of them there. Everything down to the finest detail was seen. Enemy expose themselves. So you're strong against this dishonesty. You're an empath. You know what's going on. And these ones are no longer stable. They miss their opportunity. It's a lie. It's seen as a lie. Whatever they tried to swing over, it's a lie, and everybody knows it is. They're getting left behind. They're a codependent, toxic individual. You know the honest truth about it, and they're being stopped from getting into your space. They need consolation here over death. Constantly, this is how they do it. Constant lies, constant interference in other people's lives. They're experiencing scarcity. They're resisting an inevitable end. You're an abundant, limitless being. And these ones are trying to bring an accident or some kind of, or maybe they're going to experience an accident for trying to disrupt your soul tie. They're in danger because they are trying to F around with your soul tie. They just didn't get the message. They're not going to get the message. There's an accident here. There's danger. It's bad news. It could be a bad message. Maybe they're not getting the message. Maybe they ignored the message. Maybe they were told not to do this and they did it anyway. They're in fear, having anxiety over this star. They are envious over your reunion and your friends. They wanted to sow themselves into your energy and they be seen as you, as an Agent Smith. They're doing that in the spirit, not in the 3D. They're doing this in the spirit. They want to act and portray themselves as you and drive your mind as your physical vessel is sleeping and you are dreaming in that state. They were seen. Widower. They may lose somebody. Your enemy. They may lose their spouse. They're in regret. You're releasing that baggage. They're having doubt. And the third wheel enemy is being held back. You're holding them back. They're being held back. They're holding back. You're being held back. They're being held back from your fortune. They don't get to take part in your fortune. The fortune is your star essence and energy. They tried to weave themselves into your dress, into your fabric, as you, while you were sleeping and dreaming. You've got a new beginning here and they're trying to commit fraud. They want to fix the connection by being in your mind as you, in the astral realm as you sleep. They're Agent Smithing your Holy Spirit. They're afraid. They're afraid Because this faithful sweetheart, look, you've got all kinds of pleasure seekers mauling this faithful sweetheart, trying to sew themselves into the fabric of this star. They're afraid, and they want to mend the connection by manipulating the brain of her spirit. Bunch of pleasure seekers don't want to give up what belongs to her, which is her energy and her life force vitality that they have been harvesting and living off of for a long time. It's not theirs. They're waiting for death. Death is just around the corner. The Emperor is bringing it, because who they're messing around with is a sweetheart, faithful sweetheart star Empress, and they're already reunited, and these ones are coming in trying to mess around with their abundant soul tie. Stupid that they would think that he wasn't watching, or that somebody wasn't watching. I even warned of this the other day, you know? People don't listen. Coming for this person is not a good idea. Enemy. Enemy. King of Wands has an abundant new career, very disciplined, can accomplish whatever they set their mind to. We've got an enemy that is, what? Struggling to get over the past. Or maybe this person, this King of Wands, he's struggling to give forgiveness to this enemy who collaborated on him in the past. The law of cause and effect in this order. Justice is here. The Hermit is doing their research, knows everything that's going on. They're here in their purpose. They possess gifts of the soul that benefit them and others. And somebody's unsatisfied, or maybe they were unsatisfied. Somebody's unsatisfied with the way things were going. They didn't reach their goals. They're not going to reach their goals. Joyfulness. Somebody's happy that these ones did not reach their goals. They couldn't sew themselves into your fabric. They're sick about it. The history is here. The divine love is yours, Empress, Star, Emperor. They have to accept the things they cannot change. They're getting reciprocal action, and they're suffering loss now. And we've got cheerfulness. Maybe they've lost their happiness. Maybe they don't know what to do. Maybe they're suffering a loss because you're happy. Your hard work, Emperor, in the truth, is bringing about an ending to this. These ones are being made absent. They're stressed out over your money. Over your money. There's a surprise here. Oh, the Lord. They're surprised, and they're sighing over the Lord. Here in service as a friend. Wedding. I'm pretty sure you know that they were told to stop, and that they've been warned amply. They have a hostile attitude, or somebody has a hostile attitude. So you're very strong with those who lack accountability. They're very dishonest. You can see very clearly you're an empath. They're not stable. They miss their opportunity. They're a bunch of liars. There could be a punishment here. Brag. They are bragging. They're bragging about getting one over on this little sweetheart. They're getting left behind. They're a toxic codependent jackwagon. You know the truth about this. They're being stopped from getting into your space constantly because that's all they ever do. We got the grapevine. People are talking about it. They're having scarcity. They're resisting an inevitable end. They're got to go learn some lessons. They're trying to interfere in your soul tie, your abundant, limitless soul tie. They're in danger here. They didn't get the message, or they didn't heed the message. Collaboration. Nobody's accepting their invitation to collaborate anymore. Their messages aren't being received. They're afraid of this star. They're envious of their reunion and their friends and their network. And there's widower here. Widower, I'm sorry, they could have lost a spouse. They're trying to interfere in this Empress's and this Emperor's union. They're trying to sow themselves into this fortune. It's a third wheel enemy here. Agent smithing, a sleeping sweetheart, acting as them as they're sleeping, their beautiful little soul. Entertainment, man. They're entertained. That's what they need. They're amused by this. They want your entertainment. They want your luxurious life. They want your fortune. They want to sow themselves into the fabric of you. And you are yellow. You are that bright solar plexus yellow with the white halo. And they're using white thread trying to sow themselves into the fabric of you. You've got a new beginning here. They're trying to commit fraud. They want to mend the connection through the mind, through the mental body. They're afraid and they're paranoid. These pleasure seekers have been screwing around with a faithful sweetheart who is love. Who is love and loved. I love you and I only want to add happiness to your life, but you got people coming in trying to be sneaky and not only just benefit from being a friend to this person, but they literally want to sow themselves into the fabric of this person and be the Emperor's Empress. King of Wands is here, overcoming challenges regarding the money. He's very disciplined. He's having difficulty giving forgiveness to this enemy who has been collaborating. Yes, and manipulating the perception of reality, and they want to reconnect here. A gaslighter wants to reconnect, but this King of Wands is having difficulty getting over the past regarding all of the work that not only this enemy, but the enemy's friends did. He's very disciplined. We've got justice here, the law of cause and effect. The hermit is doing his research. He's got, they're here in their purpose. You know what you're here to do. You've got gifts of the soul that benefit you and others. And there's, whoever this is, somebody's unsatisfied. They were not able to reach their goals because of the law of cause and effect. And there's joyfulness over these gifts. Whatever this is, there's joyfulness. Somebody's happy with your gifts. Somebody wants to sabotage you. They're desperate for a date. Nostalgia. In history, this Ten of Pentacles is yours. They have to accept what they cannot change. Maybe you have already accepted it, and therefore they want to tie themselves into you. They're getting what they gave, equal give and take. Their intentions will be their gift, although them wanting to bind themselves to you isn't going to be their gift. Because their intentions is to take the true Empress's right to be with this Emperor away. This third wheel enemy is trying to sow themselves into the fabric of this star Empress. Past. So there could be cheerfulness. These ones have loss. They're experiencing loss. You're happy. You still haven't gotten over what occurred in the past. It's over. The Emperor's hard work and responsibility in the truth is bringing about an ending to this kind of scenario. They're feeling your absence. They're very stressed out. They miss your money. They need your money. They need your money. They're desperate. They're desperate. They didn't even bother to try to hide. They didn't think anybody would see. Bitch. You got a false bitch here that's not stable. They were bragging about doing this work against you. They've missed their opportunity because you're an empath. A false bitch is disappointed because they're getting left behind. They're a codependent, toxic person. You know the truth about them. They're being stopped from getting into your space. And everybody's talking about this because they do this constantly. They're a narcissist. Simp. Doing the most for somebody who cares the least. They're receiving scarcity. They're resisting an inevitable end. They're going to have to learn their lesson. They're trying to interfere with the soul tie, the limitless, abundant soul tie of this Emperor, Empress. They are reunited. This third wheel enemy tried to sew herself into the fabric of this Empress's dress. They're in danger here. Nobody wants to work with them. Nobody's taken their messages. Everybody's ignoring their messages. The people who helped her do this were ignoring the message. They ignored the warnings. They ignored the warnings. They tried to mess with this Emperor's soul tie. Did you not think that he would be watching? No, they didn't think he'd be watching. Influencer. An influencer. So they're coming after an influencer that has a soul tie, an abundant, limitless being who is an influencer. They're coming in trying to sew themselves into the fabric of this faithful sweetheart and be seen as her in the spirit. They're trying to act as this person. So, look. Oh, they're triggered because you're telling the story. Maybe they're triggered because I'm telling the story. This is a widower. They may have lost their partner. They need to apologize for what they've done. They're triggered because this is being announced. It's a podcast, and they're messing around with an influencer. Maybe they're triggered by whatever stories this influencer is telling. Maybe it's this particular story. They're in regret and disappointment, experiencing a loss because you're leaving the baggage behind. This relationship is ending. There's doubt for this third wheel enemy. They're holding back. They're getting held back. You're holding back the fortune. Your life is amusing, and they want it. Or you're holding back the fortune from these people who F around with others for entertainment. They think it's real funny. A cult leader. Oh, they're triggered by what you're saying. Look, you got a fortune here. You got billionaire status, and that's not just in this world. You're known throughout the galaxy. There's a show out there called, a Lifetime show called Earth Woman. They've all been watching. You're well known and respected. So you got a new beginning here, and they're trying to commit fraud by sewing themselves into the fabric of this sweetheart, this faithful sweetheart, so that they can F around with the energy. They did so by agent smithing her as she was sleeping, and they used her in the dream state to sew this white thread into her own dress. So there's that. She's an empath. She knows what's going on. She can see, and so can somebody else. Every single thing was seen. What this person is trying to do is get into the mind of this faithful sweetheart and mend the connection with this emperor. They are afraid now. They might be afraid. Pleasure seekers were messing around with the faithful sweetheart who is love, who only wants to add happiness to the lives of others. They got themselves trying to sew themselves into the fabric of this sweetheart and F around with this emperor and his world and his soul tie and his reunion with this limitless abundant being, this star, Empress, sweetheart. Oh, they ignored the red flags. They were warned. They were warned. Generously warned. This is a black hole. This is a black square. Maybe they have to go deal with that. This is typically somebody who doesn't want to work for anything. They just do the very bare minimum and then take from others. They were told to stay in their lane. Instead of trying to love bomb and gaslight an empath who cares for themselves. Yeah, these people, they ignored the red flags. They were told. King of Wands, overcoming challenges, seeing the bigger picture, has a beautiful new career here. He's very disciplined and he can accomplish whatever he sets his mind to. You have an enemy that collaborated against him that could be seeking forgiveness for gaslighting and manipulating the people's minds. They're seeking a reconnection. They want forgiveness. They're seeking a reconnection. This King of Wands is here doing what? King of Wands, they were trying, so they want forgiveness. This enemy wants forgiveness for collaborating to gaslight and manipulate the opinions of others of this legend starseed. They want to reconnect. Or maybe there has been reconnection. And that's why they're apologizing and trying to sew themselves into that fabric. They're trying to weave themselves into the life and the energy of this starseed legend so that they can what? Portray themselves as such. When they're this low vibrational third party hobag with some witchery skills or some whatever kind of Agent Smith bullshit. I don't even know what kind of species this is masquerading as a human, but they got special Agent Smith skills. Privilege. So you are coming into a happy time. You've got the gift. You're coming into a life of privilege. These ones are unsatisfied. They were unable to reach their goals. The law of cause and effect is in order. The hermit is here shining a light, doing their research. You are here in your purpose. You possess gifts of the soul that benefit yourself and others. You are the one that is to be in this privileged position. These ones are unsatisfied. They're not able to reach their goals. They're jealous. They're jealous of your privilege. Look, this is a jealous vampiric troll that has some skill. So there's nostalgia here. The money is yours. The Ten of Pentacles is yours. They have to accept the things they cannot change. And we've got reciprocity here. Whatever you put out is what you're going to get. And we've got loss. They're experiencing loss. They have lost you. They have lost you. And there's cheerfulness because whatever this is that they got going on is in the past. It's in the past. They're part of the past. They're not part of your future. And they're getting reciprocity for every icky thing that they've ever done to anybody trying to get one over on the empaths. Those empaths are the ones that transmute energy and transmute all this stuff. So, but these ones aren't getting your reward. They have to go learn to transmute their own crap. Learn to earn their own shine. Trying to sew themselves into the fabric of a star. Using their sleeper Holy Spirit to do the work while they occupied the mind. So amazing. So amazing. And they think they're clever. I guess so. I got away with it for a long time until God came back. Until God said, no. The Most High, creator of all that is, said, hey, I see what you're doing there. Child. Shadow being. The shadow being is part of the past. This shady shit is part of the past. They've lost, and it's part of the past. It could be that this fashion witch is going to be a snack. I don't know. Take it as it resonates. Hard work. The Emperor knows the truth. Bringing an end to this with the Death card. They're going to feel your absence. They're stressed out. They could have stuff going on in their head. They're very desperate to get a hold of your money. They're very desperate to get a hold of your energy. They want to sew themselves into the energy of this sweetheart as the sweetheart while she's sleeping. They're hoping that that'll work. But it doesn't look like it's working. They're getting told to stay in their own damn lane. Stay in your own damn lane. Vampire. I'm going to go ahead and leave that one here. I hope that this clarifies something that maybe you already intuitively knew, but I can tell you this is some sneaky